Thoughts behind and get your body and breath moving in no time. This energizing flow will take about 12 minutes. Let's get started. Let's start at the top of our mat in mountain pose. You can bring the big toes together, heels slightly apart, palms forward. Then lift your shoulders up toward the ears, draw them back and down. Take a big cleansing breath in through the nose and a big exhale out through the mouth. 2 more just like that. Breathe in to fill all the way up, creating space. And then exhale to let it go. We'll take 1 more together. Deep inhale. And exhale, let it go. From here, let's reach the arms all the way up and overhead, lengthening. And we'll take a side bend over to the right, so you can slide your right hand down your leg, tilt your hips, reach through your left fingertips, keeping the core engaged to protect the low back. Coming all the way up to center, and then switching over to the left, sliding the hand down the leg, reaching, coming back through center, and let's cactus the arms. So bend at your elbows, goalpost arms, squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift the chest. Take an inhale to reach the arms back up toward the ceiling, and then an exhale to fold forward down toward your mat in a forward fold. Let's take ragdoll here, so you can reach for opposite elbows. Feet are about hip width apart, bending generously into the knees. You can shake the head yes, shake the head no. Lifting the tailbone up toward the ceiling, just allowing the chest to reach forward over the quads. Then we'll relax our hands down toward the floor, bringing the hands to the shins for a halfway lift, heart forward, shoulders draw back, and exhale to fold all the way down. Let's plant the hands and walk it back to a plank pose, stacking the shoulders right on top of the wrists, drop down to the knees, and then chest, chin, lower all the way down to the mat as you slide yourself forward into a baby cobra, squeezing the elbows in toward the body. Lower back down and use your knees for support as you press up and back into your first downward facing dog. Once you arrive there, you can pedal out through the feet, straightening into one leg, bending into the other, shifting your weight from side to side. You can shake the head yes, shake the head no. Then find stillness in your down dog, allowing the heels to disappear behind the toes. We'll take an inhale to reach that right leg up and back. Then exhale, knee to nose, round the spine as lightly as you can. Step that foot forward between your hands, pausing here in a runner's lunge. So we're lifting the chest, drawing the shoulders back. You can stay on the hands or the fingertips. And let's plant that left hand and reach your right arm open toward the side of the room for a runner's lunge twist. Now notice here if your back knee is dipping toward the floor. See if you can really lift that back knee away from the floor, leaning forward on the ball of that back foot. Let's plant the hands and spin toward the left for a wide-legged forward fold. Keeping the hands underneath the shoulders, or you can walk them back in line with the feet. Bending gently into your legs, relaxing the crown of the head toward the floor. We'll press ourselves back up and away from the floor to transition and pivot to face the front of our mat and step back to our downward facing dog. Nice and easy, just like that. Take your time, no rush. Take a full breath in through the nose and a big exhale out through the mouth to reset. Then inhale to lift your left leg up and back. And exhale, knee to nose, round the upper back, lightly step that foot forward between the hands, pausing here in your runner's lunge. Shining the heart forward, drawing back through the shoulders, lengthening. We'll plant that right hand on the floor and then lift the left arm up toward the ceiling for our runner's lunge twist. Just like we had before, the back knee's lifted away, left hip draws toward the back of the mat, gazes up toward the ceiling as long as that feels okay on the neck. Let's plant the hands and pivot toward the right for a wide-legged forward fold again. This time, if you want to bring your hands to the outer edges of your feet, your calves, your ankles, you can go ahead and do that. Bringing as much of a bend to the knees as it feels comfortable to do so. Allowing the chest to reach forward, relaxing the crown of the head toward the floor. Let's release our grip, plant the hands, pivot back to face the front of the mat, and step it back to your downward facing dog. From here, we'll take a vinyasa together. Inhaling to shift forward to plank. Exhale, drop down to your knees, chest, chin, lower all the way down, sliding yourself forward into a baby cobra. Lowering back down to the mat, staying with the breath. Use the knees, press up and back really strong, downward facing dog. Take a breath here, breathing in and letting go. Come up onto your tiptoes. Let's walk all the way to the top of the mat so feet come between the hands for a standing forward fold. Bend into the knees and inhale, rise all the way up, reaching up. Let's interlace the hands and bring them to the right knee, hugging your right knee in toward your chest for a balancing pose here. Now, if you fall in and out of these poses at any point in time, no worries. The point isn't to not fall. The point is to practice and always come back to that steady breath. Let's take that right hand and slide it down to meet the back foot for a quad stretch, drawing the knees together. Finding that length through the spine, strength in that standing leg. We'll transition into our tree pose, so you can bring that foot to the inner edge of the ankle, calf, or thigh, just making sure you avoid the knee so we protect that knee. We kind of need that knee. And then draw that right leg, that right knee slightly out toward the right. Hands can come to heart center. Finding balance, finding that sustainable breath. Let's gently release, shaking out the legs, and then we switch sides. Inhale to sweep the arms up and overhead. Interlacing your hands and bringing them to the front of that left knee, hugging it in toward the chest. Now, one side is usually easier than the other, so if you have a harder time on this side, don't worry, you're not alone. It's totally normal. Just have fun with it. Finding that strength in your standing leg. Let's slide the left hand down to the back foot, drawing the knees together for our quad stretch. Heel draws in toward the glute. Core is engaged to protect the low back. And we very steadily transition into our tree pose on this side. So you can bring that foot to the inner edge again of calf, ankle, or thigh. Just avoid that knee, bringing the hands to the heart. Finding that stability, connecting with the breath. Falling over is part of the process. It's not something we need to avoid. We can make fun of ourselves, laugh a little bit, have fun. Gently release that side, shake out the legs. Then take an inhale to sweep the arms all the way up, reach up, lengthen, and exhale to fold forward, back down to your mat. Bring your hands to your shins for a halfway lift, heart forward, shoulders back. And then exhale, plant your hands and walk it back to your downward facing dog. From our downward facing dog, we'll take an inhale to sweep that right leg up and back. And then exhale, knee to nose, lightly step that foot forward between the hands, spin the back heel down and open up into our warrior two pose. So the front knee stacks right on top of the ankle. Front ankle intersects with the arch of that back foot. Let's reach forward through the fingertips to reverse our warrior, sliding the hand down the back leg and straightening the front leg so we can reach back further and opening up into our triangle pose. So reaching forward, dropping that right arm down toward the floor, left arm reaches up, gaze toward the ceiling, bending softly into that front leg to protect the knee, adjusting your stance as needed. Any modifications or variations that are helpful for you today, go for it. Do those. Let's rebend back into the front knee into our warrior and reverse, rinse it out, lean back, open up, and then cartwheel the hands all the way down to frame that front foot. Step it back to your downward facing dog. We'll reset with a breath here in through the nose. Big exhale to let it go. Then inhale, left leg lifts up and back. Exhale, draw it in, lightly step that foot forward. Spin your back heel down, cartwheel open into your warrior two. Really strong here. Finding your alignment, finding balance. Reach forward and lengthen to reverse your warrior, opening up. Let's straighten that front leg so we can lean back and reach even further. Then bring the arms back up to a T, reaching forward through the fingertips and dropping down into whatever version of triangle works best for you today. So you can take the same variation you did on the previous side or make any modifications that feel better here. Especially bending at the knee is always helpful. We'll fully rebend into this front knee to transition back into our warrior two so we can reverse. Leaning back. Rinsing it out, opening up, stretching the left side body. And then cartwheeling the hands back down to the mat, stepping it back to our downward facing dog. From down dog, shift forward to your plank pose, drop down to the knees, chest, chin, lower all the way down. Slide yourself forward into baby cobra. And then lower back down, use your knees for support, press up and back to your downward facing dog. No rush. Once you get there, lift your heels, coming up onto your tiptoes, and then lightly walk all the way to the top of your mat. Feet come between your hands for a standing forward fold. You can keep a soft bend at the knees here, and then press down through the feet. Take an inhale, rise all the way up to standing, reach up, lengthen, and then exhale, hands come through heart center, and arms relax down by your sides, palms forward for mountain pose. Let's finish our practice here with a full breath in through the nose and a really big exhale to let it go.